Welcome to the After Two Beers podcast. I'm Dutch Dalton, joined as always by Kimmy Gibbler.
That's me.
We are recording in the A to B studios at the Innovation Center in downtown Richmond, Indiana. Make sure you visit after2beers.com. You can buy cool swag like this Drunk Cut t-shirt.
I love that shirt.
Oh, it is pretty cool.
I do.
Yeah. We also have koozies you can order. We'll send you some stickers, whatever you need. We can make sure that we do that for you. Also, make sure you like and subscribe our show.
Yes.
And if you want to give us comments, that's positive as well. We actually had someone last week that watched our very first episode on the YouTube channel that said we didn't talk enough about what we were drinking. So tonight I am enjoying a Bud Light, which will get me a lot of crap from beer snobs.
I am a Miller Lite drinker.
Yeah. And we've almost polished off a half pint there of the Fireball.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that
you'll
happens.
have that. And now we've been out of action for a little bit. Mostly thanks to the coronavirus
Right.
or I don't know.
Midwest flu, cold, sinus.
Kennel cough.
Yeah. All the above.
The black lung. It's not been pretty, but the good news is, if you actually enjoy our show, which we hope you do, is that this is the start of us starting to do these weekly again.
Yes. I've missed it.
I have too. I have. These things really started as therapy for both of us, and we're going to continue that.
I mean, we know that we need more therapy, so let's do this.
Absolutely. And the beauty of our show is you're not going to hear the word impeachment ever again after I just said it. And we're not going to talk about
Acquit.
No, or what people were looking like when they were dancing at a Super Bowl.
And you're not going to get up and rip your papers.
No. Yes, that's a good point. No.
We're good. We're
right.
good.
This is going to be a good one. So the first thing that we're going to talk about, it's been a while. We're going to jump back in our old jalopy, the A to B history wagon. Yes.
Wait to get back into that smelly thing.
Yeah, it's been a while, so we're probably going to have to jump start it.
Yeah.
But that's all right. And we're going to bring you another A to B history segment brought to you by the Cordial Cork, located in Richmond at 911 Northeast Street. AJ and I actually had breakfast there, or excuse me, brunch. Brunch there today. It was very delicious.
Yeah? What did you have?
I had it was a waffle, but it was actually like a biscuit. It had gravy on
Like a
it.
biscuit waffle. It's a baffle.
It actually is called a biscuit waffle.
Yeah,
I'm baffled by that.
a baffle. I like what you're doing there.
This mom joke brought to you by Gibbler.
Right. So the Cordial Cork happily brings us the A to B history segment, and we're going to set the flux capacitor in the A to B history wagon to August 18th, 1952, and we are deep in the heart of Texas, in the city of Houston, which is known for nothing to do. I think it's a boring city. I've been there a dozen times, and the coolest. Now the Astros, the stadium there is beautiful.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I highly recommend it if you're there.
My cousin lives there and he loves it.
Really, he likes high humidity and thunderstorms that drop 8
He
to 12
likes
inches.
being able to drive his truck out onto the beach and sit there and cook out, and like there's lots of stuff that he does. But
Yeah, they have mosquitoes that can carry babies away.
well, so does Indiana. For crying out loud.
I don't know.
And you get the coronavirus Lyme disease with that.
Delicious. So anyways, we're in Houston, Texas, and there's a young lady named Patsy, and she gives birth to a bouncing little baby boy who would ultimately become her tiny little dancer.
Okay.
Now, the reason that he became her tiny little dancer is Patsy owned a dance studio, but she also did not believe in babysitters.
Okay.
She might have been just cheap.
You know what? How many children did she have? That might have been a huge
I don't know. I know that
factor
he
to
had
it.
the tiny dancer had some brothers. I never heard of a sister.
Okay.
But to your point, it could be that way.
Yeah.
And so, like his siblings, the tiny dancer literally grew up in the dance studio. And by the age of 3, he was already taking ballet classes
At 3.
at 3 years old.
I was still stumbling around at 3.
Right.
Kind of like I am at this age, too.
Yeah, right. She's like, I was
Anyway.
stumbling around and pooping in pants. Oh, she didn't comment on that one. Just
I mean, I'm still doing that, too. I'm
right,
kidding.
you
It's a
have-
joke. It's a joke.
You have a bad day. But the tiny dancer, he wanted to do more, so he also took up swimming, baseball, football. He also played the violin, sang in the school choir. He performed as the lead role in many school plays, and he also continued to dance every single day at the dance studio.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, this kid clearly has a fast metabolism and had to been consuming like 18,000
Right.
calories a day.
I'm miss that day. I miss those days.
Yeah. Well, maybe you should dance every day. You just want to dance.
I got my jazz hands. I got my jazz hands.
Now, you can only imagine growing up as a little boy in Texas in the late 50s and early 60s that he probably received his fair share of abuse.
Might have, yeah.
Yeah, he did. And so Patsy had a solution for the bullying the tiny dancer was receiving. She said, just take the ballet shoes out of your hip pocket and beat the snuff out of them.
I mean, that would work.
You think so?
Yeah, well, I actually did do ballet. I know, as graceful as I am. I actually did do ballet, and I did toe shoes, and, like, it's a piece of wood down in there. Like, I broke my toes with them.
Yeah. You would have to lie if you got beat up with ballet shoes. Like,
I mean,
what'd you get bit? Well, I think it was a bat. It clearly
I just
wasn't.
got hit, and I didn't even see it coming. I don't know what it was.
Oh, now the mother, like I mentioned, her solution was beating the hell out of these other kids, and it didn't shock the family because Patsy was a bit of a hard ass.
So was she beating her own kids?
Unfortunately, she was. Patsy could be a physically abusive mother, so much so that on the tiny dancer's 18th birthday, Patsy really laid into the boy, and so much so that Patsy's husband, the little boy's father, said, if you don't stop, I'm going to file for divorce. And fortunately, the violence did stop for the tiny dancer.
Good.
Yes.
Wow.
But what the tiny dancer's future wife stated in a documentary about the man is this is exactly what happens in families with a cycle of abuse. So apparently Patsy's mother was even worse on Patsy than she was on the tiny dancer.
So now he stopped the cycle, though, right?
As far as I know.
Okay.
Once we get to the name, you'll hear. I don't recall ever hearing anything negative about this guy.
Taking a shot, I think it's Rob Lowe.
Rob
Lowe?
Lowe?
Yeah, that's who I think.
Was Rob Lowe a dancer?
I don't know. I'm gonna find out.
Oh, I know Rob Lowe liked little girls. Maybe.
Hey, stop it.
It's true.
it.
It's true.
No, it's not.
It is true. So, anyways, the dancer's brother Don said he always thought mom was so strict and so hard on him, but the way I saw it, it was just that she used that to spur him on. He was everything to my mother. So clearly, Patsy loved the little boy. The studio was more than just a place for the dancer to fine-tune his craft. It's also where he met his future wife when they were just teenagers. So that clearly shows it wasn't Rob Lowe because at that point they would have been the same age.
Stop it.
It also, being tiny dancer, yeah.
Yeah.
He had a wife, so.
Yeah. So at this
It's not the real tiny dancer.
No.
We're good.
Yes. So as I mentioned earlier, in addition to dancing, the dancer, who's not so tiny now, was also active in many other activities, and his favorite was football.
Okay.
So much so that he actually considered quitting the arts to play football. He loved football that much. But at 18 years old, he suffered a major knee injury to his left leg during the second to last football game of his senior year, and it ended all his opportunities at football.
Well, I almost feel like if you have a knee injury, it might end up like you're dancing as well.
Yeah, I'm
depending on the injury.
Very
obviously.
true, very true. Seemingly over the injury, the dancer actually moved to New York City and began training with multiple ballet companies. But only a year later, in 1976, the dancer developed a tooth abscess that led to a staph infection in his bloodstream that settled in his bad knee.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it got so bad that the dancer was only a week away from amputation before it finally started to show some improvement and healed.
Who is it?
Oh, we'll get there. So life began to take off for the tiny dancer. As I mentioned, he was in New York City. He got his start as a dancer for the Disney theatrical group and then starred in the role of Danny Zuko in the Broadway production of Grease, which actually he played in London. And he took over for the actor. The actor's originally started the role in London was Richard Gere.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so when Richard Gere left, the tiny dancer stepped in and took over the role. But this wasn't the first time the last time that the tiny dancer would gain fame in acting. In 1981, he appeared on an episode of MASH. Then he had a big breakout when it came in 1983 when he appeared in Francis Ford Coppola's movie The Outsiders, acting alongside Rob Lowe, Emilio Estevez, Matt Dillon, Tom Cruise, and Ralph Macchio.
So he was a long Rob Lowe. It's not Rob Lowe.
Yeah. Wah, wah. But then in 1987, he played in a role that made him the heartthrob that women all over the world fell in love with him
Yup.
for. The dancer was cast as Johnny Castle,
Yes.
a dance instructor.
Dirty Dancing.
Yes, as a dance instructor who famously lifted Jennifer Grey up off the dance floor and told everyone no one puts baby in the corner.
Hey, I just want you to know in 1987 as well, Rob Lowe had a movie about dancing. It's called Square Dance.
Yeah.
Shut the front door. She had to kind of prove somebody right?
Yeah. Well, this isn't the guy we're chatting about here.
Come on, Rob.
Right. Get your head out of Rob Lowe's ass. The Tiny Dancers, People Magazine's 1991 Sexiest Man Alive, Patrick Swayze.
I get it because that's got to be. Oh man.
Now, he appeared in tons of movies,
Yes,
tons of television
yes,
shows.
yes.
Red Dawn, Roadhouse, where he had the
Yes.
coolest name ever, Dalton,
Oh, yeah. Dalton.
where I've at least 1 million times in my life heard, I thought you'd be bigger. If I had $1 for every time somebody said that shit to me. Obviously, he was in Ghost, Point Break.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm going to ask both of you, what is your favorite performance
God,
of Patrick Swayze?
it's either him being Dalton or Ghost, but like Ghost is just like the sexiest thing ever. Like it makes. I don't have any pottery skills whatsoever, but I could.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean that's like one of the sexiest scenes that I ever remembered.
AJ, what's your favorite Swayze performance?
I think Ghost after
Ghost?
he died, though.
My favorite by far was he appeared on a television show called Saturday Night Live,
Well, yeah.
and he was alongside a guy named Chris Farley, and they were competing for the
Yes.
final spot of Chippendales.
Yes, that was so good.
And that to me is the absolute epitome of Swayze performance. Yeah.
And oh my gosh, what a dream just to even be next to Chris Farley in like scenes. I love it.
Yeah, it was very cool. Now, unfortunately, as we're all aware, he tragically lost his life at the age of only 57 when he succumbed to a 20-month battle with pancreatic cancer.
Yes.
And so he passed away. But the tiny dancer who grew up in Houston, Texas, was Patrick Swayze.
Yes.
It's kind of a cool story. Yes.
You know what is really awesome? He's one celeb that I've never heard a negative thing about.
I don't recall, and that's when
No.
we were looking up the cycle of abuse. I don't recall ever hearing anything negative about him either.
No.
And he got to play with, if you think about the films that he was in and some of the people that he acted next to, you're talking about some what are you pulling up a show over there? She got so excited.
I had to Google it. I'm sorry. I had to Google it.
What are you looking at?
I mean, he did star next to Rob Lowe.
Well, he was with Keanu Reeves in Point Break. He was Sam Elliott in Roadhouse.
Yeah. Oh, Sam Elliott.
Yeah, he played it. Yeah, so
Okay.
that's our A to B history segment for this week. Thank you again to the Cordial Cork.
Yes.
And now we're moving on to our news.
Da-da-da,
Da-da-da.
da-da-da.
It's been a while. I'm happy to bring back the news. It's brought to us by Screddy Pyrotechnics. They're located here in Richmond, Indiana. They're a cool fireworks group that they can do all types of firework displays. So whether you just want something in your backyard to celebrate a birthday,
Or the French-Indian War.
whatever war you want. Yeah, we're going back to that.
I had to. I
Going
love
back in
Masquerade.
time. That's right. But he also does major shows. So he's done it for here in Indiana, obviously the city of Richmond.
Yes.
4th of July celebration.
Phenomenal.
I know he's done it in Muncie, Indiana for the, I think it was Mardi Gras they did something. So,
Oh, cool.
Yeah, does a good job. So if you want to reach out to Screddy Pyrotechnics, you can probably look him up on Facebook. It's the easiest way. It's SCARRETTE, or you can give him a call at 765-238-7075. Now, our first story comes to us from India, and it sounds like what would happen if an alcoholic ever found a genie in a bottle.
I haven't done that yet.
No? You haven't found a genie in a bottle?
Right.
Or admitted you're an alcoholic?
I mean, I just kind of did.
Residents in an apartment building in India discovered free mixed drinks on tap in their kitchen earlier this week.
What?
This literally happened just this week. A smelly combination of beer, brandy, and rum started coming out of the faucets on Monday after a well became contaminated, the BBC reports.
Lucky bastards.
Can you imagine? Like you just open the faucet up and you get like a hairy buffalo.
But I'm just thinking about putting my cup on my fridge and it, like giving me tequila, and I just make a margarita right out there.
The station says 6,000 liters of confiscated alcohol that had been seized on court orders was buried in a pit nearby, and it accidentally seeped through the soil into the apartment building's drinking water.
I mean, your kids are getting drunk on accident.
It's funny you say that because the children couldn't go to school and their parents couldn't go to work.
So they literally had the coronavirus.
Right. I can just picture an alcoholic like laying in the bathtub just with a straw. Oh, officials promised to clean up the well, and this is something, again, that they're probably going to love. They said it may take up to a month before they have it cleaned.
Gee, that'll be tough.
Right. All
wow.
Right. Now we're off to Canada for our second story. This also happened this week, and this is a story about a former candidate for mayor of the city of Ottawa.
Of Ottawa.
Ottawa, Canada, yes.
Okay.
The individual, Bruce McConville, 55, made 25 separate withdrawals from 6 separate bank accounts in the amount totaling $1 million.
$1
$1 million. He then had 2 separate bonfires, one of which where he burned $743,000 and the other where he burned $296,000.
Why?
I'm glad you asked. The reason he did this is so he didn't have to give it to his ex-wife for spousal and child support.
Give me my money back.
As a part of the divorce settlement. So he had to pay restitution to the ex-wife for spousal support and child support. So instead of, he literally took it all out and burned it. Now he went to court, and as a result, he was sentenced to 30 days in jail, and he has to pay his ex-wife $2,000 a day for every day he fails to disclose his full financials.
Huh.
So in addition to burning $1 million, now he still has to pay $2,000 a day.
So this guy was just a mayor.
No. He ran for mayor.
Oh,
he didn't win.
I'm like, how in the hell did he have $1 million anyway? Because mayors don't make.
No, he owned his own
But they
business.
should.
Well, look at our president.
Yeah, I mean, well,
You know,
he just donates that back though.
the billions of no, I'm talking about the billions of dollars.
Oh, yeah,
He's a billionaire.
On his separate job.
Well, in Bloomberg, and he's running now. So no, he was so pissed off at his ex-wife, he burned the money.
Huh.
Now the judge doesn't believe him, and I think that's why they were doing the $2,000 a day. But Bruce confirms, and he's got the receipts where he's taken this money out. The judge just doesn't believe that he burned it.
Like he should have got video footage.
Right? You got to Snapchat that.
Snapchat it.
Right. All right. So here's
they're making it rain.
Yeah, that's a hell of a party. $743,000. That's got to be a big stack of money. You would
I just don't know that I would burn it. My God. Could you imagine being at the bonfire and just be like, oh my God, there it is.
You got to be, he was liquored. He had to have been a case into Molson and just throwing money on there.
I'd go to Vegas, at least make some memories.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I'd buy a really nice car and then drive it into a lake and just show her video of that or something. I don't know. All right. So here's our third and final news story as we're getting back to doing these shows again, which I'm very, very happy for. And this comes to us from Indiana.
Indiana, the great state.
The great Hoosier state. This actually just happened this week as well. And it comes to us from Columbus, Indiana. Carrie Likens.
Oh,
she was
sorry.
What? You don't like Columbus?
No, I just thought that we were going to be talking about the old Bob Knight yesterday.
Oh, no. That was actually really cool.
That was so cool.
Him and Gene Katie doing...
okay.
Yeah.
You can continue. I'm sorry. I interrupted.
No, this actually works for both of you. It's about a bartender that works at a Holiday Inn in Columbus, Indiana.
Okay.
And she was working as a bartender last week when a customer and her struck up a conversation at a Holiday Inn.
All right.
Just chilling. The customer's ready to leave, and she gave him his bill of $64. And as the man was leaving, the man turned to her and smiled at her as he left the bar. Now, the reason he turned and smiled is because he made the day for Miss Likens here. That's when she looked down and noticed the tip of $2,020.
Shut your mouth.
Yes.
2020.
2020.
2020.
Likens said the encounter served as a reminder of the good people in the world. She said there are good people out there. They're all over. They're walking among us. And you never know who's going to do a huge gesture for you. So pay it forward and make sure just to be a good person.
So this cat wasn't like a celebrity or anything?
No, just some dude.
I feel like there was a story recently about a celebrity that did that, where it was the 2020 challenge.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Might be a $20.20 is what I could.
Dude.
Yeah.
There's times when I would have loved to have had $20.20 as a tip.
Right.
So
Right?
I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah. This guy, Bruce, he's out burning money, and this guy's trying to give it away to bartenders at a Holiday Inn.
Well, I mean, if you were in Indianapolis yesterday at an Olive Garden downtown, you might have been able to see Post Malone.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Washington Street,
Yeah.
right off the 465 exit before it turns to 70.
I'm like,
I'm
Post Lamone decides he's just like I just want some lasagna.
Let's be honest. If you're going to think of a restaurant that Post Malone probably goes to, it would be an Olive Garden.
If I,
Hey, he said that's his favorite restaurant.
yeah,
That says a lot about him.
He did do, like, a
that makes him
Jimmy-
our kind of people.
like he did the Jimmy Show, and he did talking about the unlimited breadsticks and everything else. That he really does love Olive Garden. But I'm like, if I had that kind of money, I'd be like, I want some authentic Italian. Yeah, what's
Right.
that one restaurant we always go to, or we used to go to?
Oh,
once
it's
upon a time?
closed. Iria's.
It's
no,
closed.
it's back open.
Is it back open?
It's
Is it?
back open.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Indianapolis, Indiana, Iria's Italian restaurant is the best Italian I've ever had.
It's so good.
The funny thing about Post Malone, one of my favorite memes that we've shared on our show, if you aren't following us on Facebook, you absolutely have to. We've got over 81,000 followers on our Facebook.
I mean, we're kind of funny.
Yeah, we do some funny things. And one of my favorite ones is a picture of Post Malone eating dinner with Mark Wahlberg. And the meme is basically Mark Wahlberg buys food for a homeless man. And when we posted it, people thought it was legitimate. We're talking about how good a guy Mark Wahlberg
Right.
was. And now it was Post Malone. They're just sitting there having dinner.
You know what? I've heard that Post Malone is one of the most down-to-earth great people ever. So.
That's very cool.
Fantastic.
Very
Even though his
cool.
face looks like a detention desk.
His face looks like he passed out at a party and all his buddies are tattoo artists.
Right. Jeez. God love him. But, yeah.
Yes.
Anyway.
Well, Gibbler, AJ, I am happy to be back doing the show. I'm happy that I can talk and laugh and not cough up lung butter. Yeah, it was not good.
Had to go through that again.
Yeah. I was making more butter than Country Crock that week.
I can't believe it's not butter.
So, anyways, we appreciate you all listening to the show. Make sure that you support the Cordial Cork and also Screddy Pyrotechnics. And if you get a chance, we'll start doing our monthly entertainment things that we do at the Sheridan Pub. So make sure you go down there.
World famous kraut balls.
That's right.
Yes.
So also thank you to the Innovation Center for allowing us to do these shows here. And, oh, you got something?
Yeah. I don't know that you actually mentioned anything about our Patreon.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you go to patreon.com/after2beers, it's an opportunity for you to help support us as we try to produce these shows. We do have some loyal Patreon sponsors, Brad Boone and Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
We have a couple, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's great, and it helps us still be able to keep doing this for
Yes.
you. And while you're there, make sure you buy that shirt.
yes, Mike Coddington. I don't know why I paused on that, but it's funny when you start becoming friends with people, you just think of them in their first name.
Right?
Yeah, but anyway, yes, make sure you help us out there on patreon.com and also support other local podcasts. If this is something that it's like the rock band of the 80s, everybody's doing one.
I mean,
of
you
these.
can support them, but you still need to just make sure that we are your favorite.
Please, and thank yous. All right. Well, thank you much, AJ, for helping, as you
Yes.
always do. Thank you, Gibbler. And I guess we'll talk to them all next week.
After 2 beers.